and people paid money in them, even though it lost the money as well. And also, some people went on to say, not just Nigeria, to the world, do they really think that world leaders want to fraternize, shake hands, and being seen with a drug vendor with a kind of criminal past, while he doesn't give a damn about his reputation? And as we speak right now, nobody still knows his location just after the governorship election. Starr Radio UK, the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London, the 11th of April 2023, and I'll come back again to you in the studio.
Now, interestingly, we know that the president-elect is out of reach. Now, the outgoing president, Buhari, is alleged to have spent 8 months for health during his tenure, this 8 years that he's been in power. Now, the question is, with Tinubu also having ill health, and now we don't know where he is. I mean, people are saying, we knew that during their campaign and everything, we know that he was very frail at points, because he could go for maybe a rally or something for a time being, and the next moment he will not be found anywhere. So the question here, once again, is, will Tinubu also do the same thing as Buhari did, coming to live in the UK or France or whatever advanced country to be seeking treatment whilst the country is being run by whoever?
You see, Archie, Nigerian elections takes place every 5 years.
Yeah,
that's 5 years. Yes.
Yeah, is it 5 years or
5
4?
or 4 years?
4 years.
4 years.
4 years. Now, 4 years, that's 48 months. So if you are looking at 48 months, you're taking 40 months out of you're taking 8 months out of it. That is a huge percentage.
Yeah.
That's a huge percentage.
Of time that have been wasted.
Close to 20%, about 18% of the time that the president was supposed to be used in fixing the Nigerian's problem was spent taking care of his health. That's a whole lot. So from the start, the people of Nigeria have lost about 20% of what they bargained for. that is gone. So we start off from 80%. Before we even look at the
you've already lost before you started.
No, we've lost about 18% because that's what we did. That's what we bargained for. You see, but you can't blame Nigerians, because if you look at every gymnastics that is going around Tinubu's elections, you can't say Nigerians elected him.
Okay,
he might have been pronounced the
winner of that election,
but from what is happening, if we want to use what was supposed to take place as fair, free elections, then we can say he's been selected for the people, not elected by the people.
Okay, selected by those
selected by those who have links and who have control over the wholes of the selection process, instead of elected by the people for the people. Now the question is, Archie, they decide who they want. Do not forget, because people who have interest in that game are also putting their personal interest first.
Yeah,
I saw a video where Tinubu lost control, whether his helicopter was there or something like that. Memory wise, he's gone weak. You can just imagine who is going to be taking those decisions. Is he just being pulled there to have the title of president and others run around him, like the way we have in Ghana today?
De facto
unappointed, unelected, unofficial people basically running affairs. They have no constitutional responsibility and mandate, and therefore decide to do everything, and the president takes the responsibility because you guys are doing it. Just once you're okay, I'm okay. Are you getting me? What we ought to do, in my view, is what Nigeria has started now. Pushing for this demonstration, pressing home our demands to make sure that if it's an election, let's elect. If it is election, don't waste our time.
Yeah, that money.
So that we know. I think the courts must make it clear that going forward, we do not want any election. We'll come out for a democratic process. However, it is a selection process. Nobody should fly from Ghana to go and vote, because they left. They went and voted.
Yeah.
UK, US to just go and participate and be part of that electoral process to also say that I was part of those who helped elect someone. Because what we have, election and selection, are two different things. Are you getting me? So actually, Tinubu, I mean, nowhere to find health reasons. We know he's going to. Probably we've lost 20% of it already.
We've always started.
Someone said, well, the campaign had a toll on him and therefore he needed to recoup, get ready, plan before this thing. But I do not think so. The person is weak. You
know me? Do you think Nigerians, like Frank is saying, from the web go to that, Buhari, he's a stronger person. We see him as quite stronger than Tinubu. Well, we lost 8 months. Now, when it comes to Tinubu, then we are going to see about 2 years. What do you think?
Well, according to the handler or the spokesperson of Buhari, additional that actually gave us this information. I mean, the information is already in the public domain. We know that, just after Buhari came into power, it seems that London was the second home. But the media believe that in terms of the economy, he argued that Nigeria now has a diversified economy following the effort of President Muhammadu Buhari administration, stressing that the oil now contribute less than 10% of the Nigerian GDP. He also argued that the president never said he was going to be selling off the presidential plane, according to what the Catholic Bishop of Sokoto, Matthew Kuka, say. But the question is, what about on the ground? What is the feelings about Nigerians, which is the main important thing. I didn't even know that we're going to be discussing these in details, but this morning I posted, the 8 years of President Muhammadu Buhari. What is it like, to an average Nigeria? Have you got those dream jobs? Have you started the business? What is the economic situation presently in Nigeria? And I'm going to be picking up some of the, the comments, in the next few weeks, in the next few minutes as well. But one thing we want to say is that, the APC government came, with the hope of bringing a bit of, sanity. But are they leaving the government and the next person that is also an APC? The most important aspect is children. Up to Saturday, 80 children are still missing from Zamfara. They were kidnapped. There's been so many killings and kidnapping. A former governor has just been released after paying 4 million. So it seems that just before the election, the terrorism went down, and as the election is completed, they've come back up again. And that should be one of the so many that a lot of people will be discussing around President Muhammadu Buhari's APC 8 years in power. Has he really achieved the security aspect that will bring in the investors and allow Nigerians, as they're putting the policy in place, are the international community going to want to invest in a country where the rule of law is not being played out, especially with the case of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, that the United Nations has intervened, but yet the government refused. And these are some of the reasons why a lot are saying that 8 years down the line, a lot of Nigerians want to do what they call japa to UK, but it seems it's not a very good news in the health sector for anyone planning to come to Nigeria, as the UK has now halted active recruitment of health workers from Nigeria to combat what they call brain drain crisis, or could it be something else? Starr Radio UK, I'll come again to you in the studio.
Well, listeners, Mr. Olayomi Koiki. Let me say good morning to Pastor Joyce Lawson, who is also joined us as well. Bravo, I hope you are doing very, very well. Good morning. Okay, now let's come to the Japa story that you were talking about. Now, with the UK, issuing that, we know that greener pastures, we talk about that all the time. You look at what is happening in your area. You've been trained in a particular industry. You think like you got the best of mind. What you're going to do, but you see you are being underutilized. Now you think that, well, there are better prospect elsewhere, greener pastures there, and then we decide to leave. We've been talking about the fact that the government has to go into a plan of seeing how they can also monetize those in those fields as well. They've not done so, but for the UK government now to come, that means that definitely it would have been the Nigerian government actually petitioning them, saying that, look, our people are fleeing our country, those in those sectors are fleeing the country to yours, and therefore do something about it for them to have said that. But what do you think? Is it the government, is it the Nigerian government that prompted that, or the UK government thinking that they've had enough of Nigerian experts, health experts in that particular field?
Well, it's not the Nigerian government. Looking at what we, I've been following these news since yesterday. It seems maybe it's the World Health Organization that has actually identified Nigeria as one of the 55 countries with significant health workforce challenges in a report that was released a month ago. Was this the reason why the UK could say maybe for now we should put a stop for those that are planning to leave Nigeria, probably on a good ground as a health workers, or probably as somebody looking for greener pasture? And one thing about that is, the consequence, the UK government advised health and social care employers not to actively seek workers from this country except where there is a government-to-government agreement. Are we going to see a government-to-government agreement with the new government coming in? Because this new government is going to have a lot on the table. They have to deal with the economy. They have to deal also, with the security, and likewise the relationship that we have with different countries around the world. But this directive is highlighted in the statement on the UK government website titled "Code of Practice for International Recruitment of Health and Social Care Personnel in England." We do know that this is one of the sectors that is needed here in UK. I was doing a bit of a breakdown yesterday as well. I mean, if I was going to look for a waiter job in UK, I would not need a sponsorship because I live here. But if you're going to apply from Nigeria and say you are coming to do a waiter job, you'll be asked to go to the next Mama Buka, maybe in Ghana or Benin Republic. But we need you as a healthcare service here. But it seems that is not going to happen anymore. How Nigerians are going to react to that? Because I still have family friends that just arrived on that scheme not too long ago. What about those that are planning to arrive on that same scheme? That seems to be completely halt as we speak right now.
Okay, listeners, it is Starr Radio UK, 11:34 the time. We'll go to some of the other stories making the rounds in Nigeria. Over to you, Yomi.
Well, the next one goes to some of our leaders when it comes to those that we look up to. Once again, this is Starr Radio UK, the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. At 95, the struggle continue for a better Nigeria, says Pa Ayo Adebanjo. Remember that he actually said, before the election that, should Peter Obi not be the next president, then we should forget about everything Nigeria. Maybe they've actually changed their mind or what they think about Nigeria. He actually was 95 years old. A lot of congratulations message from different individuals as well. But at 95, struggle continued for a better Nigeria, says Pa Ayo Adebanjo, the leader of the social cultural group Afenifere. This is not the Nigeria we fought for. We pursue outcome of the presidential poll to Supreme Court. Obasanjo visit an Afenifere leader again, declines comment. Obi, I admire respect for your courage in speaking against the bad governance. But the leader of the Pan-Yoruba social political group Afenifere, Pa Ayo Adebanjo, has affirmed that the group will take its case against the outcome of the February 25th presidential election to the Supreme Court. Speaking during his address at what I can call a small Thanksgiving to celebrate his 95 years birthday at Ijebu Igbo. I actually visited him there, while I was in Nigeria, a year and a half ago. And, very, very good serene. But again, you can see the poverty surrounding one man that has a lot, where the rest is just poverty. And probably that's why they are saying that the struggle continue for a better Nigeria. I'm not sure how Nigerians are going to react, especially the Yorubas that probably will be thinking maybe he's going to join force with somebody like the emeritus Professor Adebanjo Akintoye to the cause of the Yoruba nation struggle. But it seems that Pa Ayo Adebanjo believes that the struggle continue at 95 for a better Nigeria. So I'm going to quickly go straight to some of the other headlines as well. There's currently tension as hoodlums are fighting somewhere in Lagos State as well. That is just coming. A very, very sad report again. Nigeria unemployment ratio to hit 41% in 2023 according to KPMG. These are not the kind of news that Nigerians want to hear, but as we know that there is a lot when it comes to a country that is not producing enough, and when there's opportunity is not there. According to the KPMG, as stated that Nigerian unemployment rate increased to 37.7% in 2022 last year, but it will further rise to 40.6% due to the continued inflow of job seekers into the job market. And a lot of people are taking advantage of that. This advantage also comes to, one of those that, a lot of people thought she was also part of the Yoruba Nation movement by coming out to say that she has already opened a job website. I'm talking about, Mrs. Modupe Onitiri, that actually told some Yorubas that there is a job opportunity. And the question is, when you go on the website, there is nothing called a job opportunity more than data collection as well. And these are reasons why Nigerians are falling to some of this, trap. Because when a country that doesn't have enough people that are well educated to understand that having a job means that the system in the country will be set up to allow the job by the private sector. So she set up this website telling some Yorubas to go and register because there is a job opportunity. When you go on that website, there is not one single job in there. And as she says, that job, nobody knows when it's going to come. So this is a very, very bad situation, as the multinational consultant firm, in a newly released report on the KPMG Global Economy Outlook report H1 2023, said unemployment will continue to be a challenge due to the slower than required economic growth, and likewise the inability of the economy to absorb 4.5 million new entrants into the Nigerian market. Remember that Nigerians study a lot. A lot of Nigerians are going to university, but the moment you come out of the university, there's another set of people going in there. So every time the jam is busy, but there's no job by the time they're coming out of the university, they end up working for the politician, or sometimes just carrying their suitcase. And you see a lot of them in Lagos State, where they are now come close to you and say, my brother, can you just spare me 100 naira? And you thought, well, in this very nice, beautiful suit like Mr. Archie, why are you asking for money? This is a current situation, not just in Lagos, in Aba, in Nasarawa, every part of Nigeria. Nigerians are graduating, but there is no job to kick that market of 4.5 million new entrants. And she has already taken advantage of that by telling some Yorubas that there is job opportunity, but you go on that website, is as nothing as just an empty box.
Wow, listen, let's start Radio UK. Now, it's quite interesting because I'm looking at the instructions or whatever the UK government has made, statement that they've made pertaining to bringing healthcare workers into the system. Now, and then the fact that people are graduating.
Yeah.
Yearly, they are graduating, and they are all stopped.
Yeah.
There's bottleneck, nobody can get out there.
Yeah.
Now, why are we not instead training more health workers? Okay, so we have abundance, we can just export them, we can be making money. Many times we talked about this, and whatever they are being trained for, they come out and there are no jobs for them to go into.
It's simple. It's because we have consistently engineered our retrogression. That is it.
Yeah,
we've planned to go back. We've always planned to retrograde. It's because
instead of advancing.
No, our planning is how do we go back. Our plan is how do we go back, because we've not seen that as an opportunity. We've not seen that as a market. We think we can use military tactics, a blockade to say don't go. It's not going to happen. Even with this, people are going to go.
Oh yeah, of course.
It's only the official that government has withdrawn the what they call it, the easy access way to become.
Yeah, to come to this place to come and practice.
But they're going to come. They'll come in a different way. Actually, I want to know the woman who actually
Mrs. Onitiri.
I mean, is she an Yoruba?
Yeah, she's a Yoruba.
Yes, she is.
Okay, is she one of the leaders?
No, she's not.
She's not. Earlier, she was part of the leadership. Now she decided to go her own way.
This again goes to vindicate what we've always been saying. That whenever we say we want independence, which we all do support and we all support, we should start probing ourselves. Because these are some of the people who again come. That, I am a consultant here. Can I take charge of the labor department? Can do this, I can do that. And this a situation where
failing to deliver.
This is fraud. This is fraud, causing emotional fraud.
She has actually done more damage to the movement by also summing to that Yoruba nation has been declared, and so many
are you getting me?
live in such.
Are you getting? So these are the issues that we've been raising. Who are the leaders of this movement? Let them come with a blueprint that we can all sign to, because there's no point just declaring an independent or saying, let's assume
Yoruba nation.
Today, let's assume you and the Nigerian government say today,
channel.
Yeah, Yoruba nation. have your way.
Yeah.
Have your independence. Sunday go. I mean, you people should have your way. Olayomi, you people should have your way. Who are we putting there to do what? What is their credibility? Are we going to have Nigerians should not be part of me part 2 so that we start singing, why did we even come? Why did you even follow Moses? Why did we even got independent? Is that for me? I mean, this is a classic example. It just tells us that, look, let's examine those who claim to be our leaders. Let demand from them accountability. If we go to Yoruba Nation, what are we going to be doing? But actually, on the last issue, you see, Peter Obi issue. If you ask me personally, I do not support any individual in Nigeria, whether Peter Obi, any individual candidate in Nigeria. One thing I do know is that everyone who believes democracy must support the will of the people.
Yeah.
One thing that is with Peter Obi today is that the masses seems to be with him.
Yeah. Yeah.
The future generation seems to trend towards his direction. Are you getting me? That is what is with him. Anyone who governs without the mandate of especially the future generation, actually within the next 30 years, there will be no Tinubu.
Yeah, of course.
There will be no Buhari.
Yeah.
There will be a lot of Senate presidents.
Yeah.
A lot of them over the within the next would have been dead and gone. I'm not saying young people do not die.
No.
But the natural they say Tinubu is 70 something. Right?
You don't mean he's 70 something or
call it 70. I mean, if he say he's 70, let's grant him. We say he's 70. We grant him 30 years. What is the life expectancy in Nigeria?
No, I think he's 80 something. 80.
58.
So he's gone.
He's gone. He's past.
So 30 years, he'll be 100 plus. How many people in Nigeria lives to be 100? So they will be gone. Are you getting me?
Yeah.
So when we see political space where the future generation, the 20s, the 30s, trending towards a direction, and they've gone their way, if indeed the evidence that we've seen shows that that is what they've want, what they want. I mean, Peter is not a young boy.
Yeah.
He's 62.
Yeah.
In the next 30 years, he might also not be there.
Yeah.
But he represents a bridge between the old
and the young
and the new.
Yeah.
Actually, Nigeria is a funny country. I love that country.
Well, listen to Starr Radio UK, 11:45 the time. We'll go back to Yomi for him to bring the rest of the stories making the rounds, and also tell us what is happening on the social media platform as well. Over to you, Yomi.
Go straight to the social media as the situation continue. We continue to, on Starr Radio UK, monitor the countdown to what we can call the final part of this government. And this Wednesday, we will be looking at, the Buhari's government 8 years again. We did that before, and this time around, you would also have the opportunity to call in and tell us, your views on the Buhari's government. The Biafra have set up their own, government in exile, and Simon Ekpa has been appointed as the first prime minister of that particular government in exile. So that is also coming up. And like I said, the current situation, we hope the police will be there to, to curtail, to look into the current situation. It's currently trending at Lagos area, where somewhere in Ojodubaga, there is a clash between some of the hoodlums on what we can call overland and stew related issues. So we hope that is going to be looked into. So some of those that is trending in terms of the social media, like I said, is the Simon Ekpa, the Biafra trending, because of that, the government in exile and so many other issues as well. And I'm just looking at quickly at what the latest coming out. According to, there's a lot of Nigerians that are facing different issues in South Africa, in Tunisia, but according to Simon on these updates, says, I have just been briefed by the Foreign Affairs Department of the Biafra government in exile that have contacted has been made to the Biafrans facing attacks and stranded in Tunisia. I mean, looking at some of these images, you feel very sad that a country like Nigeria that has what it takes, we shouldn't be traveling out of the country. And if you have to travel, we shouldn't be sleeping on the street. They're actually sleeping on the street, like we see here in UK, and probably also cooking there. I mean, we can't show these images. They're very, very worried as well. It also says as well that how do you answer International Center for Investigative Reporting, and you are reporting the EPA declares self-Biafra Prime Minister in exile? Do you people are disgrace to English language and journalism? Do you know the meaning of your news organization? It is called investigative reporting. Did you investigate to see that EPA declares self Prime Minister, and his name is Okechukwu, and I think he's actually responding to one of the media that's called himself International Center for Investigative Reporting, that says in their headline, EPA declares self Biafra Prime Minister in exile and names advisory. So quickly, because of our time constraint this morning, let's take a look at what is trending. Mr. Peter Obi is trending, and likewise Jandor is trending. I know Jandor was a PDP contestant for the Lagos State as well. And just one or two more, then I come back again to you in the studio before we wrap it up this morning. Electoral Act is trending. It seems more Nigerians are participating in the same thing that I think is done in Ghana, the West African Examination Council. But we do know that after their university, everybody is stranded. In the last 10 years, some have not got a basic job, and that means they are part of those 4.5 million that should be part of the new entry to the job market. And that is why Japa is the most common part of what everybody wants now. Everybody just wants to Japa. But we are saying that Nigeria has done as much of damage, but whether it's going to work or not, time will tell. Star Radio UK, the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. And I'll come back again to both of you in the studio so that we can bring it down.
Yes, listeners, Mr. Olayomi Koike, 11:49 from the hearts of London. Let me say good morning to Shamsuddin Oladipupo. He said, God bless Yoruba Nation and God bless you all, sir. Okay. Thank you very, very much, and to every one of you who have posted their comments on our pages and our platforms. We salute each and every one of you. But yummy. There was one other story that I really wanted to see: the Senate presidency. Now, what is happening pertaining to that?
Well, the way it should be is that when you have the two leader from the president, the vice president, the Senate goes to the next region, but it seems that the northern part of Nigeria probably doesn't want that to happen. How the APC will manage this, time will tell, because if they are still eyeing for the seat of the Senate, knowing fully well that they have already the vice president, even a Muslim ticket, are we now going to see a Muslim Senate president? That is something that a lot of Nigerians will probably have to wait to see.
Well, what do you think about all that? Some of you, Adeyemi says, good morning, Mr. Archie, White Lion, and all the others. God bless you all. Some of you, God bless you too, and thank you very much for joining us. Well, we'll let Yomi go and rest, and he's going to be coming your way tomorrow. He's promised you the Niger Voices tomorrow, of course. After a week's break, we're going to be bringing that your way. But Yomi, before you go.
Well, good morning from Aziz Badeshara from US Miami, precisely, says to Star Radio UK and the rest of the people that are watching on the sister broadcast as well. I'll be back again tomorrow. Stay tuned with Archie and Frank for the rest of the segment, and I'll be back again. Have a very good morning. Bye for now.
Good morning. All right, then, listeners, that has been updates from Nigeria. I'm going to take a quick break, and once we will be continuing to look at some of the other stories making the rounds in other parts of the world. Well, 25 years on after the Northern Ireland peace treaty that was signed, the Good Friday Agreement, blah 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 blah. Now, have we come to the end of the road with the threats that is going on, and with a few of issues that have gone on pertaining to insecurity in that particular part of the world? We'll be looking at that as well. Now, a whole minister, a former minister in Ghana, Brian Champon, decided to say, you know what? I don't know whether he was a bit happy. You know what? There are some people, when they see a crowd, they decide to just speak from their tummy. Let me put it that way, right? Okay. So maybe he said, well, the NDEC, that is the MPP, that's the government in power, will know why hand over government or power to the NDC. We've not gone for the elections. Is it that you are optimistic that you're definitely going to win upon all your records? But this is statement that is made, and the fact that you want them further to say, you know what, we got the men if they want to, call it boot for boot. if they want to go the rowdy way, we're going to face them. You ask yourself, government in power, making somebody in the government in power, making that statement, somebody who has been a deputy defense minister or what, security minister, making such a statement, and it makes people kind of worried. So people are trying to call him, the president, to attention. But we know the president has been labeled clearing agent. So are we going to see the same thing once again and just say that's one of those things? And the tension that seems to be rising, the temperature seems to be rising. Are we getting to a point where it will, the center cannot hold and things will fall apart? We're going to be talking more about that in a moment. But now, let's go to Mika Paris. And he says, I've still haven't found what I'm looking for. What are you looking for? But you found Starr Radio, okay? And we're here to bring you all the best in everything. Enjoy this music and we'll be with you. Stay tuned.
I have climbed highest mountain. I have run through the fields only to be with you. Only to be with you. I have
This is Starr Radio UK.
I have crawled. I have stayed
In your car,
At work,
at home,
on your smartphone.
these city walls only to be with you. But I still haven't found what I'm looking for. But I still haven't found what I'm looking for. I have kissed honey lips.
This is Starr Radio, Starr Radio UK.
His fingertips, it burns like fire. This burning desire. I have spoken tongues of angels. I have held the hand of the devil, who's warm in the night.
This is Starr Radio, this is Starr Radio UK.
You are listening to
Starr Radio.
haven't found what I'm looking
Starr Radio. Radio for the people, by the people.
but I still haven't found what I'm looking for. I believe kingdom come, all the colors bleed into one, bleed into one. And yes, I'm still running. Broke the bonds, loosed the chains, carried the cross of my shame, of my shame. You know I believe it, but I still haven't found what I'm looking for. But I still haven't found what I'm looking for. But I still haven't found you know what I'm looking for. But I still haven't found what I'm looking for.
Well, Mika Paris for you. Still haven't found what I'm looking for. But if it's the radio, the best radio station in the world that you really want to listen to, well, you found it. It is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London.
But I still
But whatever else that you're looking for, so keep on driving on. You know, one day you get to the place. All right then, so that was from Mika Paris. Lovely tune there for you this afternoon. Starr Radio UK, 3 minutes to the top of the hour at a time. A quick commercial break, and we continue with the show.
Hi,
I'm Dr. Donald Palmer, and I'm an immunologist. COVID-19 is still with us and making people ill every day, but it's not too late for all adults to book their first or second NHS COVID-19 vaccination. To get these vaccinations while they are still available and protect yourself and those around you, visit nhs.uk/COVID vaccination or call 119.
Welcome back to the program. Now this afternoon exactly at 1 o'clock, we'll be having BB Clement coming your way with BB Means Business. So we'll want you to avail yourself. It's quite an interesting program because we're looking at the stories that we did discuss earlier on pertaining to employment and people graduating and not getting any job to go to, and therefore find themselves just being at the beck and call of politicians telling them to do all sorts. Now, but if you listen to this program, it helps you a great deal because it tells you what you have to do to be what? Self-employed. There are times that you need to get yourself maybe studying, or somebody say understudying somebody who has been in a particular field and getting that exposure. But after some time, then you need to be able to now go your own way. There are a few people who have been brought to the program and the various programs that we have when it comes to the Career 101 and then BB Clement's show, where they talk about a few things that you can do, okay, to now make some more income from whatever you are doing at the moment. So it is very important. Listen to that program this afternoon exactly at 1:30 with BB Clement on the BB Clement show, a BB Means Business show with BB Clement. All right then. Okay, so let me now the lines opened so that you can join in, and then we continue with the discussions. You want to join in? You are in the UK, you are in Europe. It's 0208 133 2257 or 580208133257 or 58. If you happen to be in the US, Canada, or the Caribbean area, it is 0017183032737 0017183032737. You can also text or WhatsApp. It is 0753966174 0753966174. Our Twitter handle is Starr Radio UK, and email address is info@starradiouk.com. info@starradiouk.com. Few seconds to 12. It is the Tuesday edition of the morning show. With me in the studio, Mr. Frank Davis, I'm Archie, and I'm going to be looking at some of the other stories making the rounds in other parts of the world. And this around, taking it from other parts of Africa. Okay, so Ethiopia. Now, Ethiopia restrictions in Amara after anti-government protests. Now, let me bring you a bit of details from there. And then UN agency investigating humanitarian food theft in Ethiopia as well. I'm going to tell you more about that. So, okay. Well, the Ethiopian story, yes. Now, restrictions on nightlife meetings were imposed on Monday in 3 major cities in Ethiopia, Amara region, including the most populous Gondar, in the wake of protests against the dismantling of regional military forces across Ethiopia. Now, according to similar statements issued by the municipal authorities of Gondar, Desi and Debre Bahan, the restrictions are being imposed by the military command posts in each city, implying that security there is now in the hands, or lies now in the hands, of the federal army. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed's federal government recently announced that it had begun the process of reassigning members of the military forces that have been gradually built up over the past 15 years by some regional states to the federal army or the police. Now, they're called special forces in Ethiopia. These unconstitutional military units were tolerated until now. Now, if you look at the Ethiopian case that had gone on, the Tigray war and everything that took place, it looks like because they had regional forces, okay, so though they are all supposed to be under the federal, but they had their autonomy to operate the way that they wanted, and they think that because of that power that they had, that's why they were able to, bring that war on. So now, looking at, I don't know whether it was part of the agreement that they came to before that war seemed to have ceased, and therefore disbanding and moving them into the federal, and then going on further to say that we'll not allow you guys to be meeting in the night. So sort of curfew in there, and the people are protesting against it here now.
Archie, meeting. What are they meeting for? You can't stop people from socializing, but I mean, again, history must be our guide. If you have a group of young men linked to military or haven't been a paramilitary group in a region, meeting consistently, I mean, planning. What are they
planning
at night? What are they planning? What are they planning? Actually, I mean, if you're a security or you have been charged to protect lives in those areas, and again to maintain peace and order in those areas, you'll be seen as not doing your job if you allow such meetings to control. Yes, we know we all have our freedom of association, but if the association is going to be such that it has the potential to basically destabilize or cause problem, then I do believe your rights must end over there. Your rights to associate at the time you want and at the time at the place of your convenience must stop in the interest of the general public. At the end of the day, we've seen what other countries going through. The Tigray region, we've seen the number of people that have been killed, and we're having a bit of sanity returning to that area after a negotiated deal. We don't want to start in another part of the country, and I'm seriously with the authorities in this case.
Now, my other worry has been we're looking at the system of governance. Now, the federal system, they're trying to use like what Nigeria uses and what the US seem to be using. Okay, so there's that sort of autonomy. Okay, so you can arm the people, I mean, depending on the security that you are facing. So now taking that out, do you think that we need to have our own? Because I've been always saying that this kind of governance system that at times have been imposed on us or we've decided to copy and use, at times it's not applicable to our situation. So with this, especially, let's take a case of Nigeria, where you look at various states. So you look at the insecurity there. Now, if the state had got its own security that way, they will be able to see to enforce the rule of law there, but we don't see that there.
We don't see that again. That should again tell us about to what extent have we valued decentralization and what form of decentralization that we have. The other thing you should look at is when it comes to some of the regional armies and other things, they have potential to do good, and they have potential to do bad as well.
Of course.
If you take this country, for instance, the Scottish regiments that you call it, or whatever you call it, are not made up of Scottish.
No.
They might be stationed over there. The Wales Guard or whatever you call them, they are not made up of the Welsh alone. No. We have people from all over the country. In my view, when it comes to military, police force, I do not have a problem. I do not have a problem because of maintaining law order. But when it comes to the military, we must never give room. We must never give room for a state or a federal within this to basically recruit, train, and direct its own military policy. I do not think. Look, we should have a national policy. Yoruba should not have their own military. Igbo should not have their own military. We should have a military force that is Yoruba regiment. What do you call it? With elements from other tribes being part of that regiment. Are you getting me? But when we have a situation when we say, okay, because we're running a federal system, every federal state has a right to form its own military. Actually, just take a mad person to say, I am the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. The governor at Imo State took my girlfriend when we were young. I want a revenge. Went topple him. Are you getting? So we risk that. We might have to look at again when we write essays, theses, and others. We have opportunity to basically read through them and do a bit of correction. In fact, the only thing that I say we do not correct that much are our constitutions. Our constitutions. Can we redefine this relationship? Can we do it? Are you getting me? We know the struggle they had with the Italians and other things. We know, I mean, the struggle that they had. It's still a young country. Well, by all proportion, older than Zimbabwe and other things. Considerably still young. So we do know that, yes, we will not have the perfect system, but a lot of things we can learn this is not the only country. Look at Spain. Spain, the Catalonia area, have an autonomy until they decide to do something else. And then, and even that we do not have the army exclusively working for the Catalonia region. As we speak now, when you go to China, we have the same problem that is happening. The China, the Hong Kong, and the Taiwan issue. Their issue might be a bit different, but Chinese still see Hong Kong as theirs.
Taiwan as theirs as well.
The Taiwan as theirs. The Hong Kong, I 100% agree with them because it was the British that stole our land. It was robbery from them. So at the end of the day, I do not think that military should be something that we should allow any region to form. It has to come under one command. Because when we swore someone to the office, the president becomes the commander-in-chief. Which commander-in-chief of what? Nigerian forces, Ethiopian armed forces, Liberian forces, or who is the commanding? Are we going to have commander-in-chief? We don't say commander-in-chief of Ghana police. Nigeria police. So the civil arm of these uniform people, I do believe that because of the uniqueness of this area, knowledge, the local knowledge that you need when you're doing policing, civil design. I do agree that we can go on that, but to have a situation where, like the way in Manchester today, we have a police commissioner who is actually elected basically by the people to help the civil design, but we cannot have North London military
commander, and then that will be chaos. All right then. A bit of light there for you, listeners. Ademola Alao, good morning to you. Good afternoon to you. I hope you are doing very, very well. He says, God bless you, God bless you, Urban Nation. Okay, listeners, it is Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Let's move on. Let's see some of the other stories that is making the rounds now. This is not only peculiar to Ethiopia, and this pertains to when aid have been brought in. So you go to the markets. I remember back in the day, I've been to a Ghanaian market and I've seen bag of rice with the flag, supposed to be free, are being sold on the markets. Now that woman, I'm selling it. I'm not sure she went to the warehouse or she's got the keys to the warehouse and has taken it from there and brought it. So at times when we are doing all this fundraising stuff and they think that, let's donate so that they can, I tell them, no, I'm not sure it's going to get to where it's supposed to get to. Those who really need it, they are not going to receive it. So there is a story about Ethiopia where 2 aid workers have been killed in troubled Amara region. The Ethiopian government has announced the 2 employees of the Catholic Relief Services were shot dead over the weekend in Anambra, in Amahara, which has been plagued by unrest for several days. Now, protests and blockades in Amara have been reported since Thursday. Now, it goes on further to talk about the food that is now supposed to be going to the people now being sold in the market.
Archie, I was reading a story today. A comment or responses that were coming from, was it a Danish ambassador to Ghana or something like that? And this has to do with why is it that the Scandinavian countries, when you look at the least corrupt countries in the world, consistently they top. And I think it was Danish, Danish ambassador also. It was like, look, it is a culture. It is something that is embedded in the people. It is something that is within the people. The institutions work. The people know that this cannot be done. Are you getting me? Archie, let me say this. Excuse me if I offend anyone. Blacks and Africans, to a large extent, we are proving to be disproportionately criminal minded. Whether we're doing that because of our poverty, but actually that can also not be the case. And in fact, I want someone to study the relationship between poverty and criminality, because evidence also suggests that most people that are behind a crime are the rich. Are the rich people? Like you're talking about, some access to the warehouse over here now. So you ask yourself, someone is over there talking about unemployment. But the person who might have opened this warehouse or allow it is someone who is employed.
Yeah.
Should be someone who is employed. So you ask yourself, is it our greed towards what and for what? Are you getting me? Greed towards what and for what? So actually, disproportionately, I think we are very criminally minded, and I do think that look, our education system ought to start changing. I've always said this, that if we do not begin to teach civic responsibility, the need to know that A, B, C, D cannot be done. You should have your responsibility that when you're growing up, that there are certain things you are a police on yourself and on the community itself. And again, within any institution that you find yourself, actually, we're not going to go anywhere. Because look, actually, we will continue to complain about the crime that has gone on within our system. More people will come, they will complain about it, but the crime will still continue, because we basically, it's just like when you go to a bamboo farm or even plantain farm, where you have, or any farm where we have raisins and others, ginger and other things. Once you are harvesting the old ones, the new ones are filling. The new ones are filling. Plantains do not change form.
No, they don't.
They don't. Are you getting me? Francis, I'll call you back. Plantains do not change. They say bamboos do not change shape. The only thing that the old ones get away,
and then the new ones,
with the same characteristics. Nothing changes. That is this kind of society we have. We have all become bad plantains, corrupt plantains. The old one goes, the new one
that coming up just replaces them.
Once we are still trying to come out as suckers, we are struggling. We then begin to shout, the old plantains are bad. They've taken all the water. They've dragged all the this in. We don't even have space. They are shedding. They are drinking. They are greedy. But once we have a bit of space,
we also do the same thing.
Actually, that is the system that we. Why would someone go and sell? Look at what happened during palliative time.
Yeah.
Is that not the same thing?
A warehouse keeping it for what? For elections?
For election time. And someone who can afford such a warehouse, the person is not poor. So this argument that poverty drives to us into corruption,
criminality,
we might have to look at it to some degree, yes, because at the end of the day, when someone is poor, they get bribed easily. But here is the case. If you take Ghana for instance, even our employed MPs get bribed 40,000 Ghana cedis,
making all that money
to make decisions that they know ethically and morally are wrong for the country.
Now let me ask you a question there. You made a very good point, digressing a bit. Now if you take Nigeria, those in the Senate are being paid. I mean, it's the highest paid. Why they are doing that? So that they will not be compromised. You come to our ministers, they are being paid well, and the MPs, so that they will not be compromised. But we are seeing them still, upon all that, still being compromised. They are not, delivering on whatever we are expecting them to deliver. So do you think that citizens will have to rise and say, no, now let's bring it down, because I know that you go and steal. So don't go and steal.
Actually, that's what for me I've always said, that look, we need to, I know this is, again, anytime I say it's very controversial, but I have to say it again. They pay them a lot. If you live in any Senate area, any senator's area, his neighborhood, the money they've paid him, especially if you don't have a job, you're a young graduate, that money is part of yours. I say, when they come for programs, stop their cars, farm them, demand part of it. See, we need to get to a point where they begin to think. They begin to think, because if you are being paid, we expect something better from you. When you are found guilty of the law, take this electoral process that we witness in Nigeria. The man seated over there is being paid a lot of money. All those who went as electoral officials have been paid a lot of money. This is Nigerian taxpayers' money. We are being through 300
billion
naira. That's a lot of money. Can we imagine the number of schools that could have built, the number of bridges that we could have put in place, the number of electric poles that would have, the number of what they call it, transformers that could have changed, so that we store these NEPA and other things. But after all this money, are you going to tell me now that that man is poor, and if he got compromised because of poverty?
No, it's greed.
Something else is happening.
I think we need to take them to church to go and pray.
No, the church itself is bad, because the pastor, most of them will collect money and give front row seats to people we know are criminals. Are you getting me?
Yeah.
We know they've actually stolen. Tell me, if the INH chairman go to any church today, as if they will not give him the front row.
It's going to be leader.
I mean, they'll give the person front row. Why? Because he occupies a position of responsibility. But meanwhile, the person has used that position to damage the fabric of the nation. But meanwhile, we should glorify them. Actually, there's something that I think the psychologists will need to, I don't know, we need to look at our mindset, our mentality. What actually, and actually, it is not only starting from today. History tells us that even when, I mean, one of these British kings and others wanted to stop what they call it, slavery. Our kings and chiefs from Dahomey and other things were rising against, and even from the Ashanti Kingdom, rose against the move to stop.
They were making money from it. They were chopping some.
But they had a lot.
Yeah.
If you watch this movie, The Woman King.
Yeah.
If they were making a law. What again do they want? And you ask, take our ministers. What again do they want? Our presidents. What do they want?
A righteous man leave inheritance for their children and their children's children. So we've not done that.
And that's why some of us will always call for a lifestyle auditing law.
Yeah.
If you cannot prove the source of your wealth, you do not own it. It must be confiscated back to the state.
Yeah.
That's what. If you build 10 houses, good. We thank you. Prove that you own them.
Yeah.
Prove how you got the money. If you now cannot prove, we turn them to what we worship for. I mean, what they call masons.
Yeah.
Measure for artisans.
Yeah.
Or wherever you build, we have people who have completed a secondary school.
Yeah.
They don't have jobs. Can we turn them into business incubators?
Yeah.
Can we turn them into workshop where we can show people how to paint? Can we tell them into adult education institution to tell them how to use a digital gadget? Let them build it. Let us see. But when we have a system working, let's prove to us, because figure to no lie.
Yeah.
What were you doing? You were employed on these days. This was your salary.
Yeah.
The cost of the, can you produce how you build this?
Yeah.
If you cannot prove it,
you take it.
If you had money from any other source, was it related to a decision you take? If that was related to a decision you took whilst in the office, it means compromise.
Yeah.
You forfeit it.
Did you even declare what you were doing?
Are you getting me? We must. These are simple, and the laws are there to implement this.
But the problem is, now, you know, you strengthen the constitution so that some of these things will bite. But those who are there to see to the strengthening of coming doing they are the same.
That's why we need a psychologist to find out whether we need a look. If you are a researcher, please help us. What at all is wrong with the black man?
Maybe a bit of bleach will do. Well, listen, Sunday Adebanjo, good morning and good afternoon, and thank you very much for joining in as well. Yes, he says Sunday Adeyamo Igboho Osha is our hero. We thank God for that. We thank God for giving us good people that we can actually look at their lives and we say their lives are worth emulating, and then we follow it. Okay then. Well, it is Starr Radio UK, 12:21 the time, and I want us to land in Ghana. Now, the U.S. Air Force have released details of Brian Champion's service report. Now, it talks about him, the MP, that he has been discharged. A few of the records there. Now, if you want to know that, you can go to some of the websites in Ghana and then you find out. Now, it goes on further to say, addressing a new patriotic party rally in the Eastern region on Saturday, April 8, the minister said his party was never going to relinquish power to the opposition National Democratic Congress after the 2024 general elections. It goes on further to say the MP's comment has attracted a lot of backlash, especially from members of the NDC, daring him and others to try rigging the upcoming election. Shami Jemfi, in reacting to the comments via Facebook, described them as ludicrous tantrums. Now, we have, if you look at every media or in Ghana today, the headlines is pertaining to the statement that he made, because we know that the eastern region, the Kwewu area, when it comes to Easter, they are the ones who do all sorts. So that was a big platform. Is it that the environment that he found himself in? I mean, you know, we have people, I tell you, when it comes to religion, you have to go to church, and some people, because the atmosphere, they feel that they need to prophesy the same thing. I see that guy, I say, this guy is lying straight. Now, you think that at times, because of the environment, maybe it whipped his sentiment, they decided to just make utterances like that without actually calculating or going through it to make sure that he was saying the right thing.
To say that probably he was not emotionally stable.
Yeah.
Then I mean he's not capable of being a minister or if we to go by that. Because Archie, in my view, Archie, it was a reckless comment. No excuse. Because what it's going to do is basically raise attention when it comes to political tension. And again, telling us, is it reasonable? Is reasonable, or I mean, there are reasonable grounds to call it reasonable. And again, it's a test. And for me, I'm happy that such a comment has been made, because again, it's a test for our national security. Because not too long ago, the youth or the organizer of Ashanti regional branch of the NDC made a reckless comment at a rally.
Okay.
And he was picked up. As we speak, he's on trial.
Okay.
The police told us those comments were inciting.
Yeah.
That and those comments are nothing compared to what
this man has made.
So again, we have to test our police force whether they're going to be fair to all citizens, irrespective of their party colors. That is number one.
Yeah.
Number two, Archie, I think why are we worried and why are we questioning? Because this is a man who was speaking where ministers like Katechia.
And he's a former military. Listen,
Archie, were there. This someone who was indicted by the short commission to have mobilized without approval hoodlums, clove criminals, party criminals, arm them with guns, and deploy them to Ayawaso, bypassing all the protocols that were there or are supposed to be observed. He did not employ a lot of military. But he used party foot soldiers, clothed them in military uniforms, armed them, and deployed them with some police officers to Ayawaso, handing over state vehicles, armored vehicles, to them.
Yeah.
He was indicted by a short commission. The president endorsed him that, my boy, what you did
good.
You did good. You put fear, you brought trembling, and people, someone say, ran. Ufosu, who was by then the chairman, said, we are withdrawing, and we won that seat. And that happened after the death of Ajaku, the former MP of that.
Yeah.
The president did not punish him. He whitewashed the report. He rubbished the indictment of Brian Champon. All he did was to relieve him of the post as a minister in charge of
the deputy minister for
brought him in-house to the presidency. Are you getting me?
Yeah.
What this man is saying is something that has been planned. Again, if you listen to Lord Comey not too long ago was also addressing an MPP rally where we had a lot of ministers over there, and he repeated the same thing. He said, as long as he lives, that's Lord Comey, that as long as he lives, that was the run-up to the chairmanship on tenor. He said, as long as he lives, they will never ever hand over power to, what do you call it, the NDC. Again, let's put 2 and 3 together. The deputy communication officer of MPP has come to say, look, Rawlings died and went to the bravery NDC had. That the only man who was brave in NDC
was Rawlings.
Was it? So the speculation that they lured Rawlings to kill him, is there any truth in it? To kill him before the 2000 elections. Is there any truth in it? Actually, you see, when certain things begin, certain noises begins coming up, then you begin to ask yourself, what is happening? For me, NDC, if someone is telling you and these messages are consistent, do not forget the president we had himself. We had the invisible forces and Delta forces coming live on air, saying that they were actually financed. Their advisor is the president and Canada, Japan, and we know that group was a terrorist group, so to say. And here we have a leader that will say, look, our advisor is the president, Akufo-Addo. We talk with him every day. He financed us. What did the security do? We know the crime they committed. What did they do? We had the 7 police officers being beaten by invisible forces under the direct instruction of the president because he advises them. What did we do? So Archie, the president was at Kwawu himself. Was that event? Have you seen him made any comment?
No.
Yesterday we had a party. The whole party machinery issuing a statement in support.
Yeah.
Who is the leader of the MPP today?
The president.
So if Brad Chapon is speaking, who is speaking?
The president.
I'm done.
Wow. But the governing New Patriotic Party has described as ill-founded the numerous verbal attacks on the Abetifi MP Brian Champon by the opposition NDC over his comments ahead of the 2024 election. Brian Champon, after a work to build a better Ghana with a multitude of MPP supporters at Empire Sokwawu in the eastern region on Saturday, has stated that the ruling New Patriotic Party will never hand over. Okay, he cautioned that the MPP will show the NDC that they have the men. Now, should they try to use threats and violence in the 2024 presidential and parliamentary election? In a statement signed by the General Secretary of the NDC, Vivi Kwate, called on the Ghana Police Service to arrest the Member of Parliament for Abetifi, Brian Champon, for the comments they described as treasonable. Now, Mr. Kwate indicated that the NDC will resist any attempt aimed at subverting the will of the Ghanaian people. Now, let's talk about the composition of the regulatory body. Okay. That is the Electoral Commission in this case. Now, not long, I think I've heard some rumor. I've not got a name. I was trying to get a name of a new person who have been added to.
In fact, three of the commissioners.
Three of the commissioners. Yeah. Okay. Now, and who are said to be card bearers of the ruling party.
And not even flag bearers, active members who go on radio to defend MPP, have defended this thing, and even one of the lecturers was a patron. He's a patron. Of the
NPP.
They are basically, known MPP members.
Now, so what has the opposition party, that is the NDC, what have they said so far about it, and what are they doing about it? Because it's one thing when making a lot of noise in the background, but trying to bring it to the forefront so that, look, this needs to be addressed before it's too late. We're talking about what has happened in Nigeria. Yeah. We're talking about the elections there. Now, when people were talking about the fact that, look, this election, we think things are not right. The BVAs were not working the way supposed to. And then, the opposition were saying, but they couldn't come to the forefront to say, no, we don't agree with this. Let this be done. And then they went for the election, and now they say, go to the courts. As to whether the courts are going to give them a judgment, a free and fair, a fair judgment, we're not very sure of it. Is the NDC going to go to another part like that?
Actually, you see, one thing that you want to be sure of, you want to assure people of is how fair a regulatory body is going to be when you go to an election. Now, whether it's perception or not, there are certain things that you should not do. You should not endorse a perception that you are actually using the system for yourself and against the opposition. Not even before this appointment, the U.S. report on human rights indicated in August 2017 that the sacking of Charlotte Osei and the appointment of
Jane
Mensah
yeah.
was for Jane Mensah to do the bidding of MPP.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, she succeeded in doing the exact job that she was given. That is doing the MPP's bidding. Are you getting me?
Yeah.
Akufo-Addo did not heed to that calls from any other person, but pursued the agenda of controlling the institutions and finding a way of turning Ghana into a one-party state. That agenda is what is still ongoing. It's still ongoing. If anything at all, this lecture, and in fact, the former Chief Justice, Sophia Akufo, actually made very brilliant submission on this appointment. And for me, if Akufo-Addo is listening, he should listen properly, because what he's sowing are seeds of discontent, seeds that will destabilize our democracy, seeds that will give people arms to know that this was intention or this was said from day one.
Yeah.
Then, because Bossman was a patron of MPP from University of Ghana.
It's not our boss man, though. If you're talking about Ghana.
Boss Masari.
Yeah.
And here we have Atuo Hini, or whatever his name is, again, who is again a patron of TESCOM, being appointed. I have videos of this man on air defending the MPP, defending Akufo-Addo, saying they're not going to hand over power. He himself, the person who has been appointed. Are you getting me? Here we are told that he should be a partial and impartial referee. How is that possible? But it's good, because you better tell me you are an enemy, so that when I'm approaching you, I know how to approach.
Yeah.
That being a hypocrite like NDC MPs, backstabbers, who will tell her, oh, let's go, let's all have press conference, we are with you. And at the end of the day, are you getting me?
Yeah.
Show me your teeth, tell me you are a lion. If you get me, you chew me.
Yeah.
Then I prepare. If I'm coming, I'm going to be like a hedgehog.
Getting your spikes ready.
Getting my spikes. You can't come close to me, or I'm going to be like, what do you call it? What, a tortoise. You know, a tortoise is another this and that.
Yeah,
Lion cannot. Lion cannot.
Just go see if you want to bite myself.
I watched one video where the lions went drinking. The tortoise, they had a lot of them. They went sucking the lions. The lions were trying to drink water. They were biting their tongues. And the lions ran. Because when you want to do anything, it goes back
into itself.
You can't do anything. So tell me that you are a lion, and I also tell you probably I am a hedgehog. If I'm not going to, I'm going to be an antelope. Chew me and have a meal. I'm going to be rabbit. Do whatever you want to do with me. Are you getting me? Once you tell me you are a lion coming, I also start, or you are a tiger coming, I also start putting my hedgehog jacket, sewing them piece by piece. Yeah. You know, just like Joseph's clothing, putting them together.
Of many colors.
So that by the time we meet, a lion and a hedgehog will face it up. You might have your size. Yeah. Because you have institutions. Yeah. But I also will have my defensive mechanism.
Yeah. My spikes, I just fire them.
That is it. So that is where we get into. So I'm happy that they are showing it publicly, because if although intelligence suggests that Ayawatu, for instance, was known that this is what they were going to do, NDC, I blame them, because that is one this thing that they cannot run away from. When Mahama and others were in power, what did they do? They neglected concerns that were being raised. People were arrested coming to train military wings in Ghana. The constitution says that is not allowed. What did they do? Because they thought they were in power. Oh, they have control. You know, I've had occasions where I spoke to David, who used to be at Ghana embassy here. I told him point blank, the path you were on, you're going to lose. I said, no way. To lose power, God forbid. Well, probably here we are. I don't know where he is now. I would have loved to speak to him and find out whether God has forbidden or the warning has been, the prophecy has been fulfilled. MPP, what they are doing now is a bit of arrogance. Look, Archie, when people want power, That's why I keep on saying Nigerians did not want power enough. The Nigerian youth did not want power enough. If they actually wanted power, they would have gotten the power. Ghana is a different story. When people want power, Archie, they will take it. And it's going to happen if they have to take it.
Okay.
So, I mean, if people vote for MPP, NDC must not dare.
Yeah.
But if people
vote for NDC, then NPP
Archie,
try to
what we saw in 2000, the year 2020, the Chima issue will not be allowed to stand. It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
No.
Okay.
And it's not going to be NDC.
Okay.
It's going to be citizens themselves.
Okay.
Yeah, so that one, let's forget it's not happening.
All right, the primaries are going on. We'll be following them very closely. We'll be telling you who becomes the flag bearer for the NDC and who becomes the flag bearer for the MPP, the ruling government and the biggest opposition party, and all the other parties as well. We'll be looking at all those as the days unfold. But wherever you are, Starr Radio UK. With me in the studio, Mr. Frank Davis. I'm Archie. As I did announce, the lines are still open. If you want to hop in, feel free to do so. But let's touch on one story before we move on from Ghana. Now, calls for reduction in government expenditure is unnecessary. That's what Professor Aka is saying. Now, we look at the presidency, the number of people there, and we talked about it. And we're looking at whatever the car that they need, resident and everything, fuel that we, everything, all those things that comes with it. The economist Professor Charles Aka has called on government to address issues of expenditure wastage in institutions whilst ensuring efficiency. According to him, contrary to calls for government to cut its expenditure, government rather needs to increase its expenditure in these critical times to be able to cater for the growing needs of Ghanaians. Now, speaking, he said, Professor Aka said, the notion that government needs to cut its expenditure will not help to increase revenue. Adding, calls on government to reduce its expenditure will rather lead to reduction in the social intervention that the ordinary Ghanaian enjoys. In the quote, he said, I know some people are calling for cutting expenditure. I totally disagree because our expenditure are not that high. Rather, there is wastage. So what we should be calling for is efficiency in government expenditure and plugging the wastage and corruption. Now, is it talking about wastage when it comes to presidency that the people have been, I mean, a place where one person can do a job and then we have three people doing that same job, I mean, diminishing returns, and therefore there's a wastage, and that's what he's talking about there? Or he's looking at it that no, let government continue to spend, let them employ more people. So we have how many thousand? Let's make it 2,000. And then high expenditure, and then we'll be making
actually, I would have loved to engage this man, because sometimes actually the knowledge we have, the application of it can be detrimental. I don't know if it's a communication that let him down, because you cannot tell me that we shouldn't decrease or we shouldn't reduce government expenditure. In one breath, yes, it's making a bit of sense, but that sense is too hollow. You need to be able to put a bit of flesh on what you are saying. He was not talking, and especially when he made reference to calls that have been coming. He did not just go there or make statements and say, like, in my view, from where I sit as an economist, I think government must increase expenditure in A, B, C, D area.
Yeah.
He made reference to calls. Now, over the last few months, those calls have been directed at government wastage, the expenditure on government wastage. So if you come to say you disagree with those calls and begin to push a direction that you disagree, that then you are telling us that you endorse the wastage that is all going. I appreciate the fact that I said wastage. What is wastage to his definition? What is
in his definition?
In his definition, what is he referring to? Why didn't he go ahead to tell us, point us some of those wastage? Why didn't he go ahead to tell us some of the expenditures he wants to see increase? Indeed, actually, in this country, we saw what happened. Sometimes when the economy is going down, quantitative easing kicks in. They increase expenditure to be able to stimulate the economy. But you see, you cannot do that when, again, inflation is somewhere
dancing up there.
So government should increase its expenditure. Let's audit which areas has government been spending on. Look, we see food, school feeding program. People are queuing that they've not got money. You see foods that is being given to the kids that dogs are not
will not be
are not qualified for dogs. Are you getting me? But we know certain areas we're lacking. Can we increase expenditure in our infrastructure development? Can we increase expenditure in how we maintain our roads? Because it has direct benefit on production, right? So if a road will take us 6 hours to plan, Mokakra Temamoto Way, who is supposed to be less than 15 minutes, will now take and potholes and other things. We're going to fix it as part of our expenditure, knowing that you basically reduce the amount of time we travel and therefore increase have direct impact on production.
Yeah, I agree with that you. Will be imported, everything.
I agree with you, but don't plug into calls for expenditure reduction in the area of presidency, government machinery, which basically generating nothing. In my view, why do we need diaspora advisor for church mobilization?
For what?
Church mobilization at the presidency.
We are building a cathedral, so we need church mobilization so that the people will come every year.
Why do we need that? Giving SUV being paid at the presidential staffer. Why do we need actually the communication department alone? We have a communication director, advisor to a communication director, deputy advisor to communication director, special advisor to communication director. What for? And then we have Ministry of Information.
With the minister, substantive minister and his deputies
and advisors. Actually, so when we're talking of wastage, we're talking of government reducing the expenditure through wastage. Okay, tell me, what is the value? What value does Akufo-Addo brings when he hires a private jet?
He gets to his destination in peace of mind, and he can negotiate the best
after showering, because the Minister of Interior told us that the president jet doesn't have a shower, and that's why they hired. So what benefit does it bring the president shower in air? No. How does it impact on the vaccines that we get? How does it solve the problem of unemployment? And you tell me that what does it? Okay, president going to commission a food bridge or a small. There's this bridge that they went to commission at Nungo Pram, what do you call it? From Ishekam going towards Atimpoku. There's a railway line that they're constructing. So I know that very well. There's a railway line that they've constructed. And they needed to do a small bridge over that small railway. Yeah. Actually, when they finish, they have to do a debate to commission that.
To get the president to go in?
Yes.
You don't mean it. Wait.
No, yes, they did. And it was even night, where there were lights and everything. So that night actually, Jesus Christ. I'll come back. Actually, there's so much wastage in the system. But they all we have been told that the presidency alone in the year 2000 spent about 4-something million cedis on car tires. Car tires alone at the presidency, Jubilee House. Are you getting me? You call me the comes first government expenditure.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm afraid the economy should have come. He should come again. What does it call wastage? He should be specific. Because if you've made reference to people who are calling for government to reduce its expenditure, none of them has called for a reduction in expenditure in certain productive areas. A realignment of priorities is what they've called for. You telling me that we should be constructing a cathedral at this time of the day? And as we speak, that cathedral has been abandoned. The contractor has flee the site and pay the contract. Be on site or not on site does not stop us from paying them when we see all the money. Because every day we have to be paying them, because that is part of our agreement that we sign. Are you getting me? And you're telling me that what is the sense of the government demolishing buildings to build up something that actually, you know what? Let's proceed.
Wow, listeners, it's interesting what is happening from across the globe, especially back in on the African continent, and this around in Ghana. My goodness. What do you think about all that? More stories going to be coming your way. Stay tuned. Don't you go away. Now let's quickly go. We've got about another 13 minutes to bring the program to a close. Now let's talk about 25 years on from the Good Friday Agreement that brought about some peace in Northern Ireland. Now we saw it. Its 25th anniversary. Something we have the president, the U.S. president, who's going to be there. We have the former president, Bill Clinton, who is going to be there as well. I'm not sure if I'm sure that Tony Blair will also be there because one of the advocates for that. And then we have the Prime Minister of the UK going to be there as well. But looking at the insecurity, the security alert that was put across over the weekend.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think we've gotten to a place where we're not going to be seeing any piece of that sort happening in Northern Ireland? Or 25 years with those people converging at that place, maybe it will reignite that passion for a peace to prevail there.
Actually, it just for me it's good. The reason being that people who were witnesses to some of those atrocities, who had attention, who had a pressure on them to be able to bring big solutions to those areas. Clinton, for instance, was by then the president. Look at Tony Blair at that time. I mean, it does serve as a reminder. I mean, when we see them today, when they speak about what it means, what it has taken. For some of these politicians today, like the DUP people, some of them were still, I mean, sucking their mommy's breast when those things were happening. Oh no, I mean, but that's it. 25 years ago, some of them were still, because we know people who have sucked breast when they are 6, 7, up to 10 years old. Are you getting me? Some of them knew nothing. They couldn't even bathe themselves. As at the time. Today, some of them are telling us that they don't want to be part of a government that will bring solution. So it's time some of these our grandfathers who were part of the system, who were leaders at that time, will be able to remind us of that. Look, you young guys, those of you, I mean, how many of them were there when Tony Blair was there? Only a few. A few. How many of them sat around the table? How many of them knew what went into, I mean, brokering that peace accord? So if you say, I mean, how old is Rich Suna? Rich Suna is a young boy.
So that time he was a bit. 25
years ago, he was still a teenager. I mean, if he was even caught at that time, I mean, smoking weed, he would have been pardoned for his age. Any crime committed at that time would have been. Are you getting me? So some of them must be taught, must be made to understand what it actually is all about. That it was, we could have taken certain decisions that you're taking today in the interest of our political parties, but we said no. We took the interest in the interest of the peace of that place. And therefore, whatever you're going to do, whether it's Brexit, Zbrexit, or whatever it is, that must not come at the expense of the peace that we have over there. Do not let your ideological path that you actually want to achieve a Brexit on this scorecard. Please, some party people, I mean, actually, let's be honest. Let's be honest. All these Brexiteers, Kwesi Kwarteng and whatever, should have draft money. Where were they? No, where were they? When those
they were being in uni at the time.
Are you getting me? They were not even paying attention to what was happening.
Going on.
They were just interested in going study abroad, holidays coming. They were not interested. But some people toiled, suffered to gain that peace. So if today you're coming to say, oh, Brexit, we've done it, Brexit, and you're going to use that nonsense to basically trigger something that you cannot control over there, then you have to think again. So for me, I'm happy that the likes of Clinton, the likes of what they call it, the U.S. president, who was by then a senator, are coming again to remind the people of Ireland. In fact, it's one of the first global terrorist group. Are you getting me? To remind them, look, the Boko Harams we know today used to exist over here. The Osama bin Ladens took inspiration from here. And if today you think Boko Haram, you think Al Qaeda, you think what do you call it, Taliban, you think all of them are not of any good to you, then think again, because we had them over here. In fact, this was the birthplace of terrorism. Are you getting me? So it's good.
Well, apart from the Palestinians at the time, it was only this one. What do they call them? IRA. The IRA, but the Palestinians.
The PLA or
PLO. Yes. Apart from them, they were the ones
they
who
were
were
the terrorist
making.
group. You know, the non-terrorist group. Who is Boko Haram? They are young. They just come in babies with teeth. They should go and learn.
Wow. Listeners, a difficult time, and I hope that they are not looking at, because we want to take a box. We've left Europe and stuff like that, and cause people to lose their livelihoods and everything. There should be peace in that part of the world, because it doesn't only stay there, because some of the terrorist activities happen here.
Yeah,
and then you could have brought it to the mainland. So it is something that we all have to see to. But it's Starr already. Okay, we're going to be running up pretty soon. But today, the most disruptive NHS workout is taking place. Junior doctors have gone on strike for the next 4 days.
Yeah.
Now, people are talking about the fact that, you know what, this is going to cause lots of people losing their lives, and others are saying that a few times that they've been on strike or stuff like that, they've had the registrars or the senior doctors, let me put it that way, trying to juggle, and then they have the nurses and everything. But do you think that the junior doctors are making too much noise?
I don't think so. I do not think so. I was coming and listening to someone. Guess how much some junior doctors get paid?
£14 an hour.
£14 an hour. I mean, is that something that
living in a world now where everything is,
especially when you live in London? Okay, they'll give you a little bit of London waiting allowance, but it's still not good. Actually, we all saw the sacrifices they did during the COVID era. I am not saying we should go and actually give all the resources that we have to them, but actually from the year 2008, when those financial crises, and I'll call it 13 years now, when this conservative government came, a pay freeze, a restructuring, whatever they're doing, effectively, if you look at their salary with inflation, their salary has gone down by about 25 to 30% in real time. Their salaries have gone down. Are you getting me?
Yeah.
In 1971, 1972, a house that was bought or a flat that was bought for 6,000 today is worth about 700,000.
Yeah.
So anything that they could have done with their money between that time is gone down. Basically, the cost of living has outstripped whatever they're getting as doctors. Actually, and they are working more because the population is increasing. Yeah. And therefore, I mean, head to what they call doctor to head ratio is actually going up. Actually, I am not saying the government should grant them 35%, because according to the government, if they grant them 35%, some people will have an extra 20,000 on their but I ask myself, within the last 10 years, the MPs, have they got their salaries going up by that much?
They have a committee that sees to increase their money.
So everywhere the politicians are privileged.
They have some committee that first
line of benefit. So actually, I think they should sit down. I mean, because we know again why a lot of them leaving the system. Why a lot of them leaving the system? See, but there's another problem within the NHS. You have a pot of money, and that pot of money you're spending it on A, B, C, D. Certain variables can be controlled, certain cannot be controlled.
Yeah.
The amount of money they spend on agency staff is a whole lot of money.
You don't want to talk about that. I don't get it.
It's a whole lot of money. So the question is, why are we spending so much money over there when we can use that same money to attract more people
into the same sector? Yeah.
Even some of these agencies, can we even offer them training opportunities to train and convert to become permanent staff? But we have this ideology: outsource, and that's what they're causing us, because we don't want responsibility. We don't want to manage people. We don't want strikes. Because they move out now, they outsource team.
And they just take a chunk of the money out. Well, listeners, it is Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now, one final story. Ann-Kiss Butler is to be the first female director of GCHQ.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, appointment as a female director of for the first time in 104 years history. Now, and Kes Hedler is currently serving as a Deputy Director General at MI5. I will take up the post running UK's intelligence service next month. Now, some listening for our women folks.
I think it's good. If you watch James Bond, there's this, I've forgotten her name. One of the chief security top officials in that movie.
M.
Is that her name?
M. They call her M.
Okay.
The woman, the top. Yeah.
So I don't know why it's taking them too long to have a woman at
the helm of
the intelligence. So I mean, congratulations to this lady. One thing I do know, men, forgive me, I do know women are very, very critical and very analytical when it comes to some of these things. No girlfriend disturb them. No.
Oh, now you can't. You can't say that now. Now you can't say that. There are all sorts of people around.
But congratulations to her. I mean, that's another major barrier that has been broken. We had, for instance, Condoleezza Rice. I mean, being the first woman to lead the what do you call it? A U.S. department that was reserved for, I mean, the men. You know, today we have this woman breaking into that. I think is something.
But if you look at the former what do you call her, Metropolitan Police boss, I've forgotten their name, who was recently, I mean, call it ousted due to. I mean, the men are there, but she's the at the top, but behind the scene there were lots of things going on. Now she's been chucked out. Are you going to see something of that sort happening, or with that now everybody's going to be back?
I don't think she was chucked out because she was just a woman. Whether you're a woman or a man, we still have our inefficiencies. If you look at the former the late is it Central Bank of Nigeria lady?
Who is now the what is it? I've forgotten that it's in the new position that she's.
So actually, it is not because you're a woman and therefore your efficiency 100%. Because you can have this woman is not the only woman that could have been appointed. But she was spotted, interviewed, and fished out as a person fit for that. We have equally good women over there. Is that like that same police officer? She was not the only one at that rank within the police administration, but she was appointed, fished out, appointed, and allowed to lead the Metropolitan Police Force. I do not think that being a woman means you have it all 100%. You always will have, your weaknesses. It's about how you bring your managerial skills to bear, how you're able to carry the team with you. But at the end of the day, actually, for me, I'm just looking at another person who has been appointed, whether it's a woman or not. Yes, we celebrate being a woman, but the result of what she's going to do is what will speak for itself.
Okay. So we wish her all the best. Let's see what she would bring on the table as well. Frank, before we go,
Archie, good afternoon.
Okay, says good afternoon.
No, Archie, before we go, let me congratulate our brothers and sisters in Kenya.
Okay.
They've actually, although the project today was a day they were supposed to launch one of their satellites called Taifa 1, which is in Swahili, which Nation 1 or Taifa 1 is a nation in Swahili is called Taifa. Taifa, which was supposed to be deployed on Falcon 9, which is actually one of these Elon Musk's rockets, and was about to be launched. And one thing that gladdens my heart, because I've delved into this area before when I was at Legon, and actually did something with Dr. Alote on remote sensing department. What we're going to be doing with this satellite, I pray they get it launched tomorrow, is to provide data for use in agriculture and food security, land management, and environmental monitoring.
Which
for me is very, very, very good. You see, in Ghana, We had remote sensing department over there.
Yeah.
When all these galamsey and other things are really needed, the best thing we could have done is to go to the geography department, look at that remote sensing, look at what they are doing Bonn University of Germany. How do we deploy the resources we have over there to be able to monitor our They told us no, we're going to use 4 million Ghana cedis to buy drones that will monitor galamsey and be able to minimize it. Peter Amewu led that. We took that money, we pocketed it. Today we
where are the drones?
We'll ask Amewu one day. Are you getting me? So Archie, I congratulate our brothers and sisters, and the good thing that these satellites was actually developed, designed in Kenya.
Oh wow!
Yeah, with the help of a Danish team as well. So for me, I congratulate them. With a Japanese arm also helping, I congratulate them for what they've done.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, what is worth celebrating is worth celebrating well, and we say congratulations to the Kenyans. We hope that other African nations will take a leaf from their book. I mean, we are doing well. Let's get on. Let's do something good. Okay. All right then.
Your country, part of the atomic energy and space agencies, the island has been sold for churches. So good morning.
they are praying so that God will come and then they won't do anything. Well. Listeners, interesting one there. But this one will bring the program to a close for today. We want to say thank you very much for tuning in to join, to listen to us or join us today. Tomorrow we're going to bring you another edition of the morning show. But this afternoon, in the next 27 minutes, BB Clement will be coming your way with BB Means Business. On that note, let me say have a lovely afternoon, and we'll catch up with you later on. Enjoy this tune from Root Riders. It says, "Get up, stand up for the ride." All right then. When that song ends, you don't hear from me. It's me, Archie. It's Frank Davis, Mr. Olayomi Koike, and our able producer, Mr. Francis Guy, saying, have a lovely afternoon. Bye bye.
This is Starr Radio UK. This is Starr Radio UK.
Reach up and don't tell me the heaven is up there. I know you don't know what life is really worth. It's not all that the churches go. All the stories have never been told.
Thanks for listening.